So we started out by saying today that you have the power. And you've all heard it said before. It's done unto you as you believe. It's not done unto you as you wish. So, we have this conversation that goes around in our head, and it's been accumulating for years, and it's really a bunch of ideas that we have accepted and we believe, and it's being constantly projected upon the screen of our life. So we're here to pay attention to that conversation. We're here to learn how to, first of all, realize who we are, that we're one with the one, and the sky's the limit. In fact, there's no limit, but for it to materialize in our life and demonstrate, then we obviously have to do something with that conversation. There's a lot of suffering that goes on in the world, and Ralph Waldo Emerson said, the finite alone has suffered, or he actually said wrought and suffered. So, we, through our thoughts and our thinking, we create experience that causes a lot of pain. And we're not doing it intentionally, I don't think. We were raised by people, beliefs have been passed on to us through the generations. Each generation seems to expand more and know more. And, but still, whatever age you are, I can look at my age, and there's many things that I was exposed to as a child that were very, very helpful, good, and empowering. And there was a lot of things that I was taught that really ultimately created a lot of situations in my life that brought forth pain. So it's done unto you as you believe. Suggests, okay, you have the power, right, to have a different experience. You've heard said before, as within, whatever is living within me, as within, so without. So clearly, if there's going to be something in your life that's going to turn things around, it's going to be you, and it's going to be your conversation, your belief system. If you want to have the kind of faith that can move mountains, as they say, or the faith that can heal your life and relieve pain and painful circumstances, you can definitely have it. You have tremendous healing power. You have the power to create different life experiences. We don't ask God above for that, as that poem by Ella Wheeler Wilcox so clearly illustrated. There's not a God above that we pray to. There is a presence that's around us and that surrounds us and that we recognize and know that's in every living thing. It's the whole universe is made up of this stuff, this creative energy. And it responds to you. We don't plead and we don't beg for miracles. You already have the power. It's just a question of learning how to use it. You have it. You yourself, I would suggest, find a moment or two, a place where you can settle yourself down and recognize and calm yourself down enough to the point where you can recognize and realize that there's a presence, and invite this presence into your awareness. As you pause and as you meditate, unite with spirit, or the idea of spirit, whatever you can do to connect with the awareness of spirit. And once you're connected, you might say, I know that I'm whole. I know that I'm healthy. I know that I'm supported. I know that I'm complete. When you're connecting with Source and you're saying these things, you're speaking from a place of self-knowledge, of knowing who you are, where you know that there is a pattern of health and wholeness and love always present. And there will be no pleading in that type of prayer process or meditation. You're coming from a place of connection with Source. You know and you know that you know. You won't be asking to give me or please give me, what I need. What you're going to do instead is you're going to exclaim, I am one with creative mind. I am one with divine energy. And I have what I need right now. And then you're going to bring yourself to a point where you believe this. I have what I need right now. I am supplied and supported. There is a divine pattern of health and creativity in me. And that would be a prayer that I would say, and so it is. So my story today segues, it's just a little bit of a background story. I remember when I was younger and I was in business, I believe I was living in Boston, a large company, and there was always sales meetings to get us revved up and all excited. When the meeting was ending and where everybody had been given a boost of encouragement, we would close the meeting by saying, make it happen. And you can imagine today a coach or a team leader or anyone who is trying to motivate people saying the same thing, make it happen. And we were young and we were full of excitement. We were pumped up and we're ready for anything. Don't you miss that enthusiasm? Well, you can have that enthusiasm. Thinking back, the excitement and the enthusiasm was the thing. It was the thing that was most important. We really weren't making anything happen, and we weren't doing anything through willpower. Those coaches and motivators were trying to get us to see that if we have the motivation and the confidence in what we're going to do, what we're going to say we're going to do, then we would do it. The word enthusiasm has its Latin origins in the idea of being infused with spirit. Ernest Holmes in our textbook explains for us when he says, hey friends, we don't will things into happening, into manifesting. See, this is the whole thing about this teaching. You've got to own it and believe it for it to be reflected in your life. So we don't will things into happening. I know some of you think you got to trudge through life and it's all about, sacrifice and pushing things around to get things to happen. And again, we don't will things into manifestation. Our teaching is not about wishing for things to happen and hoping for things to happen either. Nor is it about manipulating people, places, and things to do things to get things your way. It doesn't work that way. See, remember, you are the whole bit. You have the ability to manifest a great life. But you got to know that it's going to come through your consciousness. It's not going to come so much through all your, trying to force things and will things. Our teaching, our use of principle, our use of affirmative prayer is to provide a way, a path, where we can learn how to use consciousness, where we can open up something within ourselves. See, I remember David Walker, one of the presidents of the organization years ago, saying to me and a couple others, he said, Greg, you need to go out there every week as best you can and get excited about divine principle. By that he meant you got to get excited about the reality that life is responding to you, and please try to communicate that to the best of your ability to your congregation. Life responds to you, and tell them that 1,000 times if you have to. It doesn't respond to what you want, right? As much as you would like it to think it would. And your begging and pleading isn't going to help either, because that really is more of a belief that you don't have something. So, we want to get excited and we want to say, I have, and I know, I have a divine power in me responding to me, and I know that I'm supplied and supported, and I know that every encounter is a holy encounter, and I know life is good, and I know everybody is doing the best they can with the information that they have, the consciousness they have. I live and I move and I have my being in this divine substance. I know this to be true. I'm an inlet and outlet of healing. There's a divine pattern of health in me operating through me right now. When you're speaking those types of affirmative declarative statements and you believe them, then miracles really do happen. It's not a miracle from above. It's really the law working through you. You're opening up an avenue through which life can express. Deep and profound affirmative prayer opens up channels so great things can come forward. And they will come forward. It always works. We are, as Raymond Charles Barker said, clearing the way. We're making the pattern clear. Affirmative prayer expands the consciousness and lets reality through. As we contemplate the idea of oneness, again, one power, one energy, there's no bad people, bad this, bad that. There's just this divine energy that permeates all things everywhere. As we contemplate that we live and move and we have our being in this one field, this one creative field that Deepak Chopra calls the unitary field, all of us exist in this, and the thing is we're points of awareness within it, and life responds to us according to our beliefs. When we take this in and we take a pause to reflect, I'm infinitely connected with this, and it responds to me. When we contemplate the idea that there is one love, one power, one intelligence in the universe, and that intelligence is in me now, when you take the time to let that inform you that I have it. I have it. It's in me, operating through me. And when I learn to approach the ocean of life with bigger ideas, and I let go of the lesser ones, those bigger containers, as Louise Hay talked about in her, she asked, what are you approaching the ocean of life with? Are you approaching the ocean of life with a thimble, or is it a cup, or is it some huge container? You know, if you approach life with positive expectancy, good things to happen, healing and happiness and positive outcomes, you're going to demonstrate that type of reality. If you're going to approach life with negativity and scorn and blame and guilt and shame and you have a low opinion of yourself and you're constantly talking about other people, then you're creating hell on earth. And it's completely it doesn't have to be that way. Bill Wilson famously said, misery is optional. Ernest Holmes said a similar thing by saying, suffering is not God ordained. If we're suffering and we're miserable, it's really about consciousness. And you can change your thinking. You can if you're here. And it's work, because we have habituated thoughts. Sometimes they're very negative, and we call them old tapes. Lately, I've been calling them, they loop. They loop and they loop and they loop around. So when you catch yourself in a loop with a negative message where you're criticizing yourself or you're being critical of other people, please, for your own sake, stop mid-sentence and say, stop. Pull in Diana Ross. Stop in the name of love. Just wherever you catch yourself doing that, pause, stop, and think about the truth that I'm one with the one, and that all is well. I can see peace instead of this. I can know this person, whoever he or she is doing the best that they can, just as I am. We want to learn to give ourselves a break and learn to be our own best friends, and we really, truly want to extend that to everyone else, because we do know that everybody is a part of this creative intelligence, this energy that permeates all people everywhere. We want this reality to come in and inform us that there's nothing else but what we call God. And if you don't like the word God, there's nothing else other than this divine energy, this power, this love. And as you bring this into your mind and you're really becoming a bit of a mystic, and as you do this, you're really understanding that this thing is all that there is. And as you bring this into your mentality, it will clarify your thinking. Affirmative prayer expands our consciousness and lets reality through. As we contemplate the idea of oneness, when we take that pause and really take that in, when we contemplate the idea that there is one love, one power, one intelligence, and just try to get the idea that this is not like a religion. It's just a realization that this power is in everybody. And it doesn't matter what religion, where people are. I mean, my God, people have been fighting over religion since the beginning of time. And they start out with a great idea, most of them, all of them, an inspired thought, and then there's institutions that are built up after them over thousands of years. And oftentimes they get away from just this central idea that there's one energy, one power, and it's in everybody. So Namaste would mean I salute the divinity in you, and I don't care if you're living in India or if you're living in Iran or you're living in Russia or you're living in South America or Africa. There's one power, one presence, and we all share in that. And my goodness, it would be great if we could all celebrate that divinity that's in everyone everywhere. It's one human race. And it's in everything that lives, and the whole universe and all of its planets are filled with this energy. And when we take the time to think about this type of oneness, when we contemplate the idea that there is one love, again, one power, it's an awesome realization. The bigger realization that it operates in you, through you, and that it actually responds to you. I mean, that's really awesome. So we want to center ourselves in this awareness, this consciousness more and more. And when we do this, it clarifies our mentality. Our concerns, our worries seem to dissipate because we understand that we're supplied and we're connected with this source. And as I was saying out in the lobby, some of you call it God, and you can really call it whatever you want. The big thing is to have the awareness that it is. And it operates through you, and it speaks to you in your dreams and your quiet moments. It's always there beckoning you forward to step up and step out of situations because the whole universe is moving forward. And it's moving forward in you through your new thoughts, your new ideas, your inspired ideas. That's spirit attempting to get your attention. Again, living in every heart of every child in every place throughout the world. Yes. This power, this good, this God is probably different than what we thought of as kids. This is an intelligence, it's a loving energy, it's here to inspire and move you forward in everything. And the more you contemplate it, the more aware you become of it. So, you just can't lose. If you take, some people might meditate a little bit, they may forget to meditate or do affirmative prayer, but the more you engage it, the more you become aware of it. So affirmations are very important. We were talking about that a little bit outside while we're trying to get reconnected. They help you cultivate an awareness of spirit. It helps us to see that, this is God in my life. Everything that's happening is really to bring you to a higher place of understanding. So we plug into that awareness and we're connected. And as we do, we come from a more blissful place of real knowing. There's no doubt, there's no fear. There's peace. And we get off track. I get off track probably daily. And some of you might too. And the thing is, please don't beat yourself up when you find that you're like you've lost your connection, because you can very quickly get reconnected. You take that pause and bring that awareness into your heart. We right now live in a perfect universe. The thing is, you need to feel it more and sense it more. So let your words mean something. Take time to pause so you can, feel that you live in a perfect universe and feel that you're supplied and supported. I spoke a few moments ago about affirmations. They're really helpful the more you use them, and they're especially helpful if you have that enthusiasm that I started out with today. We don't make things happen. You don't coerce the universe to obey you. But if you proclaim these affirmations and you feel them and you sense them and you know the truth of them, then they start to shape up in your life. I would choose affirmations that were particularly meaningful for me, and I suggest you do the same thing. You can make them more powerful if you slow down a little bit and say them with more feeling. Sometimes you don't have time to say them with feeling, so just keep saying them. But as you begin to shape your consciousness, and you say things like, I'm supplied and supported, I'm one with the one, I am one with intelligence, I'm one with all good. As you begin to recognize, I am an individualization of this God life. And then, when you see other people, you really want to start seeing them as individualizations of God life too. we don't want to be painting any pictures of people anymore as being bad guys or good guys, bad guys, because everyone is an individualization of this divine essence. So we attempt, as we live the affirmative life, to know and feel this connection that we have, this unity that we have with all. Our challenges, you learn here, are largely mental, meaning we create so many things in our own minds. So we want to pay attention to what we're creating. Everything is about consciousness, and it's about the conversation that you're having in your mind and your heart all day long. We are engaged with spirit 24 hours a day. I remember when I was a young man, a practitioner telling me, Greg, you were the child of a lesser God, meaning I used to plead and beg. And her name was Mary. She was a practitioner. And she said, the universe so completely adores you that it responds to your every thought. It doesn't miss a one. So please today know with me that, your life is a reflection of your understanding, and the universe is saying yes to what you understand. So obviously, we want to think great thoughts, right? We want to take it higher. See, there's you and there's your consciousness. If my consciousness is low and I'm, thinking negatively and poorly about myself and others, that has a tendency to correspond in my life. Every one of us are on a journey, and it's really an internal one. And if you open the door to this place of knowing, where there is such tremendous power and possibility, and if you open the door and you dwell in this place and have a realization that you are safe and all is well, you will start to be more serene and calm. You'll be unfazed by any of the things that, they just won't bother you in the same way, because I am as God created me. I'm whole and I'm complete. There's a realization of this presence, God, that's there in you. And all the answers to all the challenges will be found there, in and through spiritual realization, your connection with Source. So as you go forward, if there are any fears, any challenges that are present in your life right now, do your best to meet them with gratitude. You might say, there's something in this for me. Life is responding and transforming you like the most beautiful butterfly emerging, coming out of a cocoon. You're not going backwards, you're always going forward. A person cannot emerge from such a time with such challenges unchanged. We will be different. We will be more. We will be better. We will be stronger and we learn more about our strengths. We're always going upward and onward. The universe intelligence presence is always here responding to you. I've said that about 5 times today. It doesn't touch you in any way, and it doesn't keep scorecards. God is not out to get you. It simply responds to you. Whenever we have challenges, and we all have them, I'd like you to remember our teaching and know that there is spirit, and it's in you, and it's acting as an internal guidance system. My old teachers used to say, Greg, you know and you know that you know. And that used to challenge me, because I would try to say I don't know what to do, and they would say, you always know. It's just ask yourself certain questions. What's the most self-loving thing I can do on any given situation? And there's an answer there. If you have the courage to act on that, you're going to move forward. So we want the willingness to as Spirit guides us, to follow the guidance. I invite you today to consider partnering with it, to get connected, and ask some of those questions. Invite it into your day-to-day thoughts. For Spirit will not be the uninvited guest. You can keep going on and ripping and roaring and self-justifying and all that, but if you take the pause and you take the time to quiet down, and you contemplate, you ask a question, you'll either have it right away or you'll have it probably the next morning. It'll come to you, because Spirit does respond to you. We want to open our heart and mind to this guidance. And it'll take you everywhere if you invite this presence into your mind and heart. I personally think it's good to remind yourself many times a day, say to yourself, I am one with you. I am one with you. I am divinely connected. Or whatever words that work best for you. I think of Reverend Ike when he said, you just can't lose, with the stuff we use. Because you have access to infinite source, infinite intelligence, and it will guide you. Ernest Holmes, in so many words, said in the textbook, whoever believes that spirit, source, is operating for them is far more right than they know. Spirit is operating, or he called it specializing. Whatever it is, you're looking for, it's coming through you by means of the law. So, you want to shift your consciousness around where you can expect these good things to happen, healing and health and better relationships. If you are with us for any length of time, you will know this. I will say this. There is a divine intelligence in you that knows the right answer always. Just ask it. Put a demand on consciousness and say, I know, and it is revealed to me now. And I'll say it again, you know that you know. And as you start doing this, you'll bring it forth. Again, there is a divine intelligence in me that knows the right answer, guides me. The answer to any challenge is right there within you. You don't have to look to 100 people, for guidance, because you have perfect guidance in you if you are open to it, right? So there is that which is within you that knows. I'll say that again. It's been said to me all through my adult life. You are one with this guidance, and you are one with this intelligence. You are an individualization of it, in fact. Challenges are going to disappear if you dedicate our work to seeing your challenges as opportunities. Some of your challenges are not seen correctly, so they stay, and they can appear to get worse, especially if you're caught up in the blame game. In truth, as you remember the poem we started with today, remember the poem, The Conversation. In truth, there's nothing outside of you. We have a tendency, I could blame people today, the lights went off, this happened, that happened. You can blame people. It's just a mistake. It's just, wherever you find yourself going towards blame, do yourself a favor, just stop. In truth, there's nothing outside of you. We're always in the perfect new moment. So it's good for us when we are reacting to something, ask yourself, what am I creating this situation to be? Or if it's about a person, who am I creating this person to be? I don't know where I first heard this. I began to realize it, but there's an expression I'd like you to consider. It's all about you. See, when you come into metaphysics, you realize that you're on a spiritual journey. It's really a journey inward. So it's all about you. And there's so much wisdom in that if you can really start to understand it. People come into our worlds for lessons. They don't know they're here for that reason. They're just doing usually what you're doing, which is the best that you can. And so are they. We have a tendency to create them in our imaginations and our longings to be something else, maybe to be smarter, maybe to be a partner. Maybe we create them to be our partner, our friend, our lifelong companion. You see, we're always creating people to be something. And then we find out that they are different than what we actually wanted or projected. Because the truth of the matter is they've always been who they are. Some of you know me better than others. In classes, sometimes I'll joke around and I might say, how's it going, Shakespeare? Because I'm really wanting you to realize that you are really writing your own script. And, you're creating people to be your friends and, there are many things to you, I do that because I know we create people to be our lovers, our friends, we have so much power to name things and create things. We give our power away, and then sometimes we become upset, even angry, because people don't behave the way that we want or the way we expect. Now, I want to ask you, therapists have asked me that before, whose problem is that? It's my problem when people are not acting the way I want them to. Of course it's my problem. Oftentimes, even we feel betrayed when in fact we have somewhat set ourselves up. There is incalculable power available to us. You have not learned probably how to use your power yet. Some of you have, who are here all the time, or really who have been working with this for a long time. So we have a tendency to give away power to all these people that we bring into our world. And then we write them out of the script, or we will create them to be a bad girl or bad guy or something else. Each of us have a lot of power in this. We have more power in our relationships. We have more power than we realize. When Louise Hay said we're each 100% responsible for the things that are happening in our lives, she was never suggesting for a second that anyone's to blame for anything. None of this is about blame. All of us have made mistakes while we're learning and growing, but none of us should be blaming ourselves or anyone else for these events, because they have all been learning experiences to bring us to a place of wisdom that we have now. And we've known a lot of people who have acted out in different ways. We've seen anger and we've seen remorse, and we ourselves sometimes have not been willing to forgive people and vice versa. The spiritually aware person is quick to forgive themselves and quick to forgive others. Because if you're hanging on to blame and remorse and guilt and shame, or are you holding on to all of that towards another, that is exactly what Ernest Holmes was talking about when he said we're carrying a lot of baggage. A great teacher said to me years ago, everything that happens ultimately is a lesson. It's a teacher to you, a lesson. So it's there for some good reason. There's a gift for it. There's a gift in it for you someplace. It might not be enough to say, I release this or that. There are many things you can do. Being here on a Sunday is a big step. There's no accident. Thursday evenings, we have a wonderful discussion, really that causes you to take a look at what your conversation is so you can change it and elevate your consciousness. Our classes, all of them will remind you of how good your life can be and the power you have. We'll talk to you about affirmations and how powerful they are. They may not be enough to dissolve a lifetime of worry, fear, or anger, but it's a good place to begin. Everybody in this room, are an individualization of spirit. You're much bigger than your problems and challenges. You have power that you can't even conceive of. These challenges will always dissolve away with a better realization of who you are and the power you possess. You might find yourself saying, I am one with the one. I'm supplied, I'm supported. Say it as many times as you can or you will. As you do, you're going to be elevating your consciousness, which includes your intelligence, your knowing, your skills, and your commitment to come from love and connection. And yes, as we mature, life seems to be ever more interesting. We still have challenges. And we're here, all of us, to learn and to master what's possible, to grow more and to express more. We're here to be the victor. We're not here to be the victim. We have positive expectancy and a consciousness of success in all things. And after a while, most of us stop complaining and stop blaming, and we stop explaining our life in terms of problems. We understand that everything that's happening is happening for us and is a learning experiences. One of my favorite expressions I learned from the Course of Miracles was regarding challenges is this: it takes great wisdom to know that all events, circumstances, and happenings are helpful. They're part of our evolution and growth. All of us have the power and the potential all of us have this power and potential to change us into wiser, more compassionate beings. Those of you, some of us who practice the teaching day by day, we call ourselves truth students, see the most amazing things happen. Most of the world complains about everything. But we understand from some of the old scriptures that everything's done unto you as you believe. So we want to shift it all around and realize it's totally up to you to create this magnificent life. And it's not too late whether you're 18 or 58 or 88. It's totally up to you, right? You can do it now. Changes and challenges are always going to be a part of life. If you want to manifest a more expansive life, you can, starting here right now. Raymond Charles Barker would say, yesterday ended last night. And even today we've had interruptions, and it's never too late to start your day over. That's what we do, those of us who practice the teaching. If you want to partake of the great and the good and come from a place of real connection and source, you can. Never let the challenges define you or be an excuse for not making progress or stepping forward. All of us have overcome great odds all through our lives to be more conscious, more awake, and more aware. Knowing you are supplied and supported is the key along with the willingness to keep going forward one step at a time. You may not know it yet, but you are already a great winner in the game of life, and you're moving forward towards more self-mastery and greater joy. We know everyone has challenges, and every one of them have a potential to teach us something important, to lift us to a higher place of acceptance. Some of us still tell me or talk about what they are doing wrong and what they're afraid of. We want to let go of fearful thinking. If you're really fearful, Ernest Holmes said, that suggests you have misplaced faith, or that you believe that something can be opposed to Spirit or God. God is all there is. There is no opponent. There's no opponent operating in the world or in you. Please don't be an opponent to yourself. Know within you all things are possible. You simply need to realize that and believe that, and it will happen. Let us remember now and know that we are forever supplied and supported. So before I think I need to wrap this talk up because we had so many interruptions. So in summary, let us know that we're one with the giving one, the one that supplies and supports and guides and woos, the one that corrects and makes clear. We are one with that. Tough times never last, armed with the faith and the knowledge that you possess. I know that everyone here will do more than survive. You will all thrive. And so ends this morning. Thank you for all your patience as we've been through the things we have. So it is.